Dave, you're back here with Derek Chisora. Tell us how that's all come about once again.
We've worked together before, and then the only reason why we parted ways was because he wanted me to train him in London, but I can't do that. And I've got my own stable in my own gym. I've got my family, and I explained to him that I wouldn't train him in London. He was like, "Oh, I'll pay for all the fighters to come down, the hotels, and we'll set up a training camp down here." I was like, "I can't do that. I'm not going to do that." So we went his own ways. Obviously, he's had 2 fights since, and then we've always kept in touch. And after his last fight, we were talking, and he said, "Why, He asked me to come to London again," and I said, "Look, the situation is the exact same. I said, I ain't doing it, There's a reason I only train a handful of fighters, is so I'm at home for 3 o'clock when the kids are back from school, and I'm around my family, and that's it. So I'm not gonna come to London." I said, "Listen, Derek, stop messing about." I didn't really say it in them terms. Stop messing about. I said, "If you want me to work with you, get up to my gym, and let's do it properly." I says, "You've got one more shot at this relay for the big fights, the big nights." I says, "You've got to win this fight." I says, "So if that's what you want to do, then get yourself out of your comfort zone, get up here, and let's get cracking." And so he did. He was like literally 2 days later. He was like straight away. Didn't put up another argument. He just said, "All right, let me sort something out." He says, "And I'll be with you in 2 days." I was like, "Okay." I didn't think it was going to be that quick. I thought it was going to be like in a couple of weeks. And then that was it. He's been in my gym ever since.
And Derek has built up so much experience in this sport. He's done so much. What do you feel like you're able to teach him? What are you working on with him so that when he takes on his next big fight, he can be successful?
Regardless of age or experience, and this is in any field, it can be in your job. It's not just tied to sport. If you've got somebody that's willing to learn and is willing to adapt in order to get better and improve, then they can improve, as long as they're willing to put the work in. And that's what Derek is. Derek, you've heard him up there today. He absolutely loves this sport. He absolutely loves everything that he's doing, and is 100% committed to what we're doing. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. He's not going to get in there like floating like a butterfly. He's still going in there with the mindset of destruction, but he has to be smart. He has to prepare for a better version of Joseph Parker. He can't look at the last fight and say, "Well, I think I got robbed. All I've got to go in is there and is do the exact same thing." No, because that was too close. But also, Parker's going to be better because in Andy Lee, he's got a great boxing mind. He's got a very, very good trainer, somebody who understands the game, somebody who understands. Andy was a good puncher himself, knew how to get the best out of his levers, height and reach, and knows about his posture. And in working with Andy, I'm expecting Joseph to be a better version of what he was throughout his career and what he was on that first fight. So there's things in the first fight that Derek can't afford to do in the rematch, because I understand where Joseph and Andy believe that they can stop Derek, because the punches that he landed on Derek in the first fight are going to be of better quality, going to be delivered better. So I'm preparing for that. So Derek has to change a few things, but not reinvent the wheel. But also, the successes that Derek had can be improved upon, and that's what we're working on. So, like Andy was spot on. You don't have to make mass changes in order to change the course of a fight. The little finer details. But I'm over the moon with how he's training. I'm over the moon with what he's doing, how he's responding to me. It's working so well. Like I said, he's staying behind to watch the sparring of the other guys, and he's learning and he's absorbing, and he's really enjoying himself. And I couldn't be happy with where we're at, to be honest.
Well, we're really excited to see how he gets on December the 18th. But as a trainer, I'd really like to get your take on AJ and what he's doing in regards to his training situation. We've seen him out in America working with a number of different legendary trainers, and we're still not sure what the makeup of his coaching setup will be. But what have you made of what's been going on?
Listen, I'm in exact same spot as you. We're all looking from the outside, looking in at what's happening. We don't know, and it's very, very difficult to comment on somebody's preparation for a fight, coaching team, how they're responding to the coach, and is he doing what they're wanting? Are they getting the best out of him? It's very difficult to understand that when you don't see it. So all he can give is an opinion that's not based on fact. For me, the one thing that he needs to do is change the approach to the rematch, because the approach was all wrong. Whether that came from training, his mentality, or whoever's idea that was, that needs changing. Whether that means that you need to change your training team is a different matter. The two don't have to be the same. It just means that you've got it wrong. Trying to outbox Usyk and outsmart Usyk, perhaps maybe because everybody thought you couldn't do it, you think, I'm going to show them. You don't know, but he was definitely trying to box him, and it was completely the wrong way of going about it, because he was giving away his actual attributes, what he's good at, he couldn't employ. So if he feels as though he doesn't trust the people around him that are coaching him 100%, if he feels though that they can't get the best out of him 100%, then it's time to move. Yes. And I believe that fighters have one career. A coach has as many careers as he chooses to have, because he can take on as many fighters as he wants to have. So the fighter's got to really know that setup is right for him. If he doesn't feel it's right for him, then fair enough. But whoever he goes to, he has to have 100% confidence in to do whatever they want him to do. Because you can't get in that ring and second guess yourself. Should I, shouldn't I? Should I? Oh, well, he's saying this, but I don't feel as it. You have to be able to be at one with that, And I've had fighters where they've been elsewhere before, come to me, and they've got to buy into it. They've got to understand it, and that's why when I'm coaching somebody, I don't just tell them what to do. I explain to them why. I make them feel it. If they feel it, then they'll want to do it, and then they trust in it, and then they'll go with it. But it doesn't always work. I had Anthony Fowler, and Anthony Fowler left me because I couldn't get the best out of him. That's just how it is sometimes. I couldn't get the best out of him. So it was right for him to leave me, because if he didn't feel as though I could get the best out of him, and if he didn't quite get or gel with what I would want him to do, then leave. So that's why it's very difficult from the outside to say whether they should or shouldn't leave a coach, because on the one thing you say, well, loyalty, this team have done this for him, this for him, this for him, but if there's another step beyond that and they can't do that for him, or they can't get the response that they need from him, this is what I'm saying. It's not just about whether that team's right. It's whether they can get him to do what they want him to do. If they can't, then it's best to part ways. But what I don't believe in is if he goes and gets a Ronnie Shields, Garcia, somebody like that, but then says, yes, but I want this man from my team, and you guys need to work together. You can't afford to mess about like that with this rematch. He has to win. So if you're going to do it and trust in it and go with it. But then when you're diluting like that, and then there's going to be clashes, you can't afford to do that. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask you about, actually, because in your experience, when you worked with Dillian for a couple of weeks before that fight...
I didn't work for a couple of weeks. I went in, I got there on the Thursday, I saw him on the Friday, and he fought on the Saturday. I didn't have anything to do with it, so that is different. So I went, just wanted some experience in the corner. I didn't think I was going to be speaking, and then I'm stood on the side of the ring apron to give him some water, and he looked at me, and he's looking at me, and he's just looking at me, waiting for me to speak. And I thought, oh, okay, so I spoke. That's it. And because you can't just have somebody just looking at you, waiting for you talking, you don't say anything. But I wasn't anything to do with the training. I didn't see him train, spar, nothing. I went on the Thursday, I saw the shakeout session that he had on the Thursday where he was working with his coach, and that was it. And then he weighed in Friday and he fought Saturday. That's it.
But on that, I wanted to ask you about having extra voices in the camp, which you referred to there. Do you feel like there has to be one trainer?
If it's not on the same page, it's very, very difficult. Listen, in the past, you would have George Benson, Don Turner working together with Evander Holyfield and people like that. They work together day in, day out, and they're on the same page. It's just a different set of eyes. If it's not like that, if you haven't got two actual trainers that are working together day in, day out on the same page, and you've got one trying to get him to do this and you've got one trying to get him to do that, you might as well just drop a bomb. because that can go anywhere, and that's how it seems as though things are at the moment, is that he has got voices, and are they all on the same sheet? Are they all happy? From his interview and what he was saying, it sounds like they're not, because he's virtually saying, you know, if they, you know, they've got to deal with it, and whoever's not happy, then that's who's going to have to leave, sort of thing. Doesn't sound as though it's the blend that you need. But again, you're just picking what people are saying, and you just don't know yourself. But whatever happens, it needs to be together. And I don't agree with this where something's going wrong or whatever, they go back to get dropped, or it's just a nightmare, they go back to the corner, and you've got all these different voices, because it's such a volatile, highly concentrated experience, that 1 minute that you've got, that you've got to be able to soak up the information that your coach is giving you. You've got to be able to zone in on what he's saying, comprehend, understand what you have to do when you go back out there. If he's saying something to your folk, he's saying something to you, and he's saying something to you, and they're all saying it at the same time, wow. And you've got the crowd noise, and you've got your own demons and stresses thinking, whoa, this is going, I'm getting beat here, well, I need to. There's a lot of voices in that head. There's a lot of noise in that head. That's not good.
And just finally, as a trainer as well, I think everybody agrees that AJ took the wrong approach in that fight. He had the wrong approach in the ring. A lot of people have said since that he needs to use his attributes, his size, his strength. How do you do that as a boxer? Because I guess it's easier said than done.
Yeah, you can't. So people were saying, oh, he just needs to jump all over Usyk. And Usyk's boxed people like that all the way through his career. Marco Huck, that was a big fight, and Huck was a real handful, come forward, strong, rugged sort of fighter. Thought he was just going to steam forward and destroy Usyk. Well, that didn't happen, because that's just playing straight into Usyk's field of vision, into his abilities, into his counter-punching abilities, everything. You have to still put it on him, but you have to be clever about it. But somebody that's the size of AJ, with his long reach and his power punching, and he puts his hands together really, really quick for a big man. If you look at the fight, he never threw his jab at Usyk's body, his chest, his shoulders. You know, he was constantly trying. If he did throw it, he was throwing it at his head, and Usyk's moving his head all the time. You know, slow him down. First few rounds are always going to be tricky, and he's going to be mobile. Slow him down every opportunity you get. Whack him around to the body. In the clinches, AJ looked like the one that was trying to grab on for a breather, rather than being horrible and rough on the inside and just using his weight, leaning on him. Remember when Riddick Bowe fought Evander Holyfield? Every time they got in a clinch, Riddick Bowe's weight would be on Holyfield and pushing down on him, just tiring him out a little bit. Things like that need to be put into the fight. But you can't just be reckless. But I think AJ threw one left up to the body, and you saw a reaction on Usyk. I mean, I said for Tony's fight, Tony Bellew's fight with Usyk, I don't think Usyk likes getting hit to the body, because every time he gets hit to the body, he moans, he shows out. He'll look at referee as though it's low when it's not, or he'll do an adjustment, or he'll shot. I don't think he likes the body shots. AJ threw one left up to the body, you saw a reaction, and he never went there again. So little things like that need to be addressed, and you know, I'm sure there will be. You know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but during the fight, I saw that, and I actually thought then, now he knows, but nothing followed up from that.